Matthew Bryza. He is a former U.S. ambassador. He joins me now live from here in Istanbul. I should specify, former U.S. ambassador to Azerbaijan. You expressed an expectation somewhat recently that this could and should be resolved, really, by peaceful means. More than anything, really, because Armenia doesn't have the military means to draw out a conflict like this. Yet here we are. It has gotten worse. This is the worst escalation we've seen, really, since this frozen conflict was declared decades ago. What do you make of it, and why has it gotten so bad so fast?
Yeah, and by the way, Andrea, and thanks for having me. I was also the U.S. mediator of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict as part of the Minsk group, which Andrew had mentioned. So I think what happened is that the Armenian Prime Minister, Nikol Pashinyan, who came to power through this glorious Velvet Revolution, and initially had real rapport with President Aliyev. In fact, you may recall that at the end of 2018, they had a meeting, and after that, they said, we need to prepare our countries for peace. But then subsequently, Prime Minister Pashinyan flipped 180 degrees. And I think he's been under intense pressure, political pressure inside of Armenia by extreme people who don't want there to be a settlement. So while when I was the mediator, the two sides had come very close to an agreement, not because of me, but I mean, it came close to an agreement in 2009. And the framework that they almost agreed now, Prime Minister Pashinyan has said, we no longer feel bound by that, and let's start completely over. That has infuriated Azerbaijan and President Aliyev, because Azerbaijan got to a certain point by making concessions in exchange for the Armenian side agreeing to certain things. And now the Armenian side is saying, well, you gave us these concessions, but we want to start over. So therefore, I think President Aliyev a week and a half ago said these negotiations are senseless. And in the meantime, both sides had been moving heavy weapons toward the line of contact inside Azerbaijan that separates their two forces. And I think something probably happened, maybe accidentally, but both sides were poised to fight, and they're fighting now.
Right. And I mean, the international community, of course, everyone's kind of having their say. Not least the EU, who is telling other international powers to stay out of this conflict. Is it even possible for any international players to stay out of this conflict? Because it almost sounds like it's been derived from the beginning from certain proxy powers being involved, mainly Russia, as you're describing.
Yes, Andrea. I mean, Russia, it has a military base in Armenia. It's the 102nd military army base in Gyumri in northwestern Armenia. Russia controls the border. I mean, operates the border patrol of Armenia. And so it is an outside power that is actually also an inside power. And so what I believe is that given that the U.S. government during the Trump administration is not really paying attention to this part of the world, which means that the Minsk group that is co-chaired by the United States, Russia, and France can't really function, de facto, there's a vacuum. And that vacuum is being filled by Russia in support of Armenia and by Turkey in support of Azerbaijan. So my great hope is that after the fighting subsides, who knows when that will be, then Turkey and Russia will be able to bring their friends to the negotiating table. But I think there's a significant amount of fighting and back and forth that's going to continue. I think Azerbaijan is going to continue pressing ahead to recover what is its own territory under international law in Nagorno-Karabakh and its 7 surrounding interests. And the fighting will only stop if Armenia, together with Russia, somehow stops Azerbaijan, or if Azerbaijan recovers enough territory of its own to make it politically feel comfortable, and that is also militarily defensible. And your guess is as good as mine as when that will happen. But when that happens, then I hope that Turkey and Armenia will, Turkey and Russia will bring the Armenia and Azerbaijan to the table.
What about, is there a thread we're missing here with the occupational authority in Nagorno-Karabakh itself? Is that strictly an extension of the Armenian government? Or is there a separate layer at play there with what that, leadership actually wants for Nagorno-Karabakh?
So you ask a straightforward question, and the answer is really complex because there are elections held in Nagorno-Karabakh. Those elections, of course, make Azerbaijan crazy because Nagorno-Karabakh is under international law, a part of Azerbaijan. But these elections are by and among ethnic Armenians who are occupying that territory. So there is an authority there. But it is really completely dependent upon Armenia for its survival, and it's a farce to say there's a Nagorno-Karabakh military. Those are Armenian troops, and it's very clear that that's the case because not only has the Prime Minister of Armenia's own son done his military training in Nagorno-Karabakh, but so has the Armenian Prime Minister's wife. There's extensive video of her, Mrs. Pashinyan, receiving military training in Nagorno-Karabakh.
Ambassador Bryza, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, as always, for your analysis. It's very helpful.